coming to you from deep beneath the murky waters that lie beyond the Lake Erie shoreline. This is the Cleveland Podcast! With Fred the Mud Monster and South Bay Caesar. Find us online at facebook.com/The Cleveland Podcast or email us at theclevelandpodcast@gmail.com. Now, join us as we journey through Northeast Ohio and the city of Cleveland. Hey, Fred.
What's going on, Caesar?
Not much. How you doing?
You like salad?
I
beat you to it.
You know I do.
That's right. We have now our fourth guest in a row. We are popping. It is official, ladies and gentlemen.
It's hard to believe people keep coming to see us.
People actually like us. I can't believe it.
I like you guys.
I thought my mud would just be an instant attractor for any guest, but lo and behold, they like it. They like your salad. They like my mud. It's a good combination. But today we have our fourth guest and a very special guest.
Why, thank you.
Alex Robertson.
Yes, sir.
A man of many, many traits and many talents.
Yes, I would say so.
Someone who went to Columbia University, majored in computer engineering, is currently the owner and founder of Recess Cleveland. Also someone who works as a small-time business consultant, as well as numerous other projects that happened in New York City.
Yes, sir.
It even got an award from the Cavs.
Yeah.
One time.
Keep it going, man. It sounds good.
Ego stroking is the best thing we do on the show.
Right. Hey.
Well, again, of course, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the Cleveland scene, the 100 things every Clevelander must do. Previous guests have done 1 through 10 and then 10 through 20. Today, we're going to do 20 through 30. So I just want to see what you think are the top 10 things to do in Cleveland. And then I'll just quickly read off 20 through 30 and just get a quick reaction from you. What are the top 10 things, in your opinion, to do in Cleveland?
So I'm a dive bar guy, so you have to stop by Ontario Street Cafe. It's right next to the casino downtown. It's one of the oldest bars in Cleveland. They have happy hour specials all day, every day, $7 pitchers. Got a shout out to Ontario Street Cafe. I used to live around the corner from the Cleveland Museum of Art. I lived in the Glenville area for about 25 years of my life. I didn't really take advantage of the art until I became a little bit older. But having lived in New York City and then come back to Cleveland and having to pay like $40 to see art in New York and the same art in Cleveland for free, I had a new appreciation for our art museum. So shout out to Cleveland Museum of Art.
The Cleveland Museum of Art is one of the best things in the city.
Oh, definitely.
About the city.
Oh, of course. Then I'm also an outdoors person. So, I like to go around. I visited and I've seen most of the Cleveland signs. I'm a huge fan of Edgewater Park. It's only 5 minutes away from my house. So, support your local parks and recreation centers. Go and, enjoy all the fun stuff going on at the parks. What else now? So food. I'm a huge foodie. Anywhere there's like, I love how Cleveland does their like burger week and, their restaurant weeks. So those are that's probably, I go out 3-4 times, even when I don't have to and I have food at home. I just went shopping. I will go and support the restaurant weeks, burger weeks. Cleveland has some amazing restaurants. I'm sure we'll talk about some of them later. What else? I'm a huge fan of karaoke. I used to be, afraid of public speaking. I used to get deadly fear of public speaking. And I've been going to karaoke as therapy for literally once a week.
We actually talked about Tina's on the last episode.
Nice.
That's one of the places you like, right?
Oh, that's my favorite place. I'm there 3 times a month on Fridays. That is the place to go on Fridays. You meet some interesting characters there, including myself. And they have one of the best karaoke DJs in the city. Carlos on the 1s and 2s. So stop by, say what's up to both of them.
Shout out to Carlos.
Shout out to Carlos and Loretta behind the bar.
And Loretta.
Yes.
If you eventually listen, You're welcome.
you will probably save a lot of money and thank me later too. So, I'm sorry, I lost count. Where am I now? About 6 or 7.
6, 7.
Somewhere around there. What else do I like to do for fun that you must do as a Clevelander? I'm blanking out here. What is one thing that somebody else said I haven't said yet?
Oh, it's hard to remember because we've got 20 other options.
Oh, yeah, right.
So just whatever else comes into your head, or you could just stop at 7 and I'll just go with the 20 through 30.
Let's stop at 7. Let's keep this going.
All right, that sounds
20
good.
Through 30.
All right, so number 20 is take a tour on the Good Time 3.
All right. I'm actually getting on that boat tomorrow for a fundraiser. So shout out to the Good Time 3. I've been on the Good Time 3 maybe 10 times in my life. It's mostly at night over drinks. So I can't tell you what it is or what it looks like during the day, but always a good time with drinks.
It looks spectacular with drinks.
Yes.
You got ship goggles, basically.
Right. But very unique views of, Brown Stadium, Rock Hall, especially when it's lit up. Very unique views of the city and places like the little canal down there. Very, very, very fun to look at.
I've done it once, and there was a high school reunion that day.
Oh, no.
And everybody was dancing, and I just jumped right in.
Wow.
I
don't know if they wanted me there, but
right. Just have fun. I paid my dues. I paid my ticket price.
That's not awkward.
Right. A little awkward.
Number 21, grab a selfie with Mall Guy.
Really?
Yeah. I don't even know who this is.
Exactly. Can we get Mall Guy on the show next time? Like, who are you, dude?
The swagtastic neon-adorned Cleveland icon can be found, obviously, at the mall. Obviously to the point that we don't know what the heck it is.
Right.
And this is the Grass Mall, right?
Yeah, dude.
Like mall
yeah.
A,
Mall B, Mall A, that type of mall?
Yeah, I think that's what he's talking about.
I think this is otherwise, we'll find Mall Guy eventually and start to interview the neon sign.
We'll have to figure that out.
Number 22, spend a day at the Rock Hall.
Definitely. They are, or actually, it may be free for most Cleveland residents.
If you live in the city now.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you live in the city, it is 100% free. And that's through the Key Bank Foundation. I actually met the person who was responsible for getting it free for all Cleveland residents. So
really?
Definitely go out and support.
They
paid a lot of money to make it free.
Yeah, right. I can only imagine.
Right.
I live in the suburbs.
Sorry.
Oh yeah. So you
still
got
an ID. Still an ID for the day. They don't really care.
I mean, that's how my parents did it because they came into town. And I'm the Cleveland resident, so it's like use your ID.
Exactly.
It was like, I guess there's my dad who looks like an older brother to me. So like, he must be, this must be a younger picture. And then, they got free tickets out of it. So
exactly.
Also,
if it works.
Also using my wicked charm, that helps too.
As kind of a thank you for when the Republican National Convention came into town, as a thank you for putting up with all the traffic and everything, they gave Cuyahoga County residents back then, and that was before it was free for people in the city. They gave Cuyahoga County residents a free pass in, and I went in and I pulled out my ID, and they didn't even look.
Right.
Wow.
Like, go ahead. Like,
yeah.
All right, number 23, get a shot at a Cleveland sign.
Yep, I mentioned that earlier. Definitely, that isn't a secret anymore.
Yeah, no.
There's a line when you go. Expect a line.
Yes. Number 24, catch the annual Rooms to Let exhibition in the Slavic Village.
I have not yet gone there, but I heard it's a good see. If you're not familiar with the project, they take an abandoned home and they fill it up with various art from different local artists around the city. So they basically like renovate the house, quote unquote, with artwork.
That's great.
It's amazing original art. I think that it happens one weekend out of the year, normally during the summer, and it is low cost or if not free to go.
Ooh.
What happens after the display? Do they
take the artwork back? Because
and then it's just an abandoned house again.
Then it's an abandoned house again.
Well, there we go.
Except the artwork that they paint on the walls. But
right. Well, that's pretty cool. Number 25, tailgate in the Muni lot.
Oh my goodness. I am a huge Browns fan, and I did not say a must go is to, you got to see Baker. You got to see Baker and the fellas. I am a season ticket holder. I got my first seat in the dog pound when the Browns went 1-15. And I thought it couldn't get any worse than that. And they went 0-16. But now my tickets are actually worth some money.
Yeah, right. Unbelievable.
If you can get your hands on a ticket to go see a Browns game, you can't match that energy anywhere.
I'll buy a Browns game so that way I can see the Ravens blow out the Browns.
Oh, good luck.
Not anymore.
Right.
I mean, we'll be close. No question. Number 20.
Oh, you mean the old Browns?
The old Browns.
Old Browns. Yeah.
I do feel bad for that though, even though I was not involved. I was born the year that the Browns got moved to Baltimore, so that's kind of a personal thing. Number 26. See a play at Playhouse Square.
I have not done that in a long time. But yeah, I'm not opposed to doing it. I was more advocate or Broadway advocate when I lived in New York, but yeah, I haven't gone to see a Playhouse play in a while. But yeah, I would definitely keep that on the list though.
And then number 27, go to Third Fridays at 78th Street Studios.
Oh, if you haven't been there, I've been there about twice this year. Cool place to hang out, make a bunch of new friends, see some art, see some local artists and what they're working on. And I just wish there was a full bar and not just wine and beer. But other than that, no complaints. Yeah, keep that on the list too.
Number 28, walk on the lower level of the Detroit Superior Bridge.
Some of these we've already done.
I know. I noticed that for some reason the Cleveland Scene article that I pulled up last time with Jake, it was a different number set.
Really?
So it was like, okay, some of these are already in the same numbers. And I realized I'm like, oh shoot, we're doing 2030. But then again, we were getting such good commentary. I'm like, you might as well just roll with it.
Hey, I'm here. Roll with it.
And then walk on the lower level of the Detroit Superior Bridge. So that's like
that's something that's on my to-do list. That's something I haven't done. And I've seen pictures from some of my friends on my timeline when it's open. And I definitely want to do that. So keep that on the list.
It's definitely worth it.
Yeah.
And then guess what? This came up again, Caesar. Karaoke at Tina's.
Are you kidding me?
Yes.
I second, third, fourth that one. That's a must. On Fridays. On Fridays, it's a must. On Saturdays, it's a little reduced karaoke playlist, playbook. So still go out, you have a good time, but they might not have your favorite song. Just saying.
I remember I went there one time with you, and it was packed with beautiful women, and I was like, "Oh, I love this place," and you told me it's not usually like this.
Exactly. It was because they knew you were coming.
Yeah, it's because of the wonderful salad diet you're eating, and now you look like a Greek god. Number 30. Take a walking tour, like one of those historic walking tours.
Oh, okay. That wouldn't make my list, unfortunately. It depends on what the walking tour is of. They have some in public square of the statue. I forgot what that statue's called. You know what I'm talking about? The Liberty statue.
Oh yeah, the Liberty statue.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about? They have walking tours of that building.
Yeah, the one with the kind of looks like the Statue of Liberty, but it's like Statue of Liberty on a diet.
Right. She's a little thin with a shield.
We talked about it like 2 episodes ago, right?
Exactly. Yeah. See, this all keeps coming back up.
I don't remember the name of it though.
Yeah, they have walking tours of that, and they have walking tours of breweries. Of course, I'd rather go on a walking tour brewery, but this walking tour of the statue might be a little fun for if that's your thing.
All right. Well, that was Alex's opinion on 20 through 30 on the clevelandscene.com, the 100 things every Clevelander must do before they die. Oh. Thank you so much. Now,
no problem.
Now we have the next list, which of course you say you're a foodie and you love pubs and bars, dive bars. So what I decided to pull up is by the ratings according to TripAdvisor, the top 10 bars in pubs in Cleveland. And for this case, because we want to make this a little bit shorter, I want to get at your top 5 bars / pubs in your opinion. And then we'll go through the top 5 on this list and we'll go from there.
Top 5 bars / pubs. They have to be dive bars? Are these dive bars only?
Oh no, this could be any bar.
Oh, so Porco's. Porco's makes the best cocktails in Cleveland. I said it. I will fight you.
So where's Porco's exactly?
Porco's is on West 25th. I forgot the cross street.
It's got a theme, right?
Porco's Tiki Bar.
Tiki Bar, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
They They use all fresh ingredients, freshly squeezed juices. They have a full bar. They have drinks that you have to have at least 8 people to order in your party. And once you order that drink, and I've done it, they come and they pour like gigantic champagne bottles on top of this like massively large drink with 8 straws on it.
Oh, wow.
Yes, Porco's #1, my favorite. Anyone visiting from New York City or anyone I went to college with that was used to, like the New York style bars and they want great cocktails that taste awesome, I take them to Porco's. They leave satisfied. So
that's great.
Shout out to Porco's.
By the way, I found the cross street. It looks like it's Potter Court.
Potter Court.
Yeah,
I would have never guessed that one.
Well, yeah, it's a little bit of a smaller.
It's
road.
close to Ohio City, but kind of a little further away
than that.
Yeah. Maybe 3 minutes drive from West Side Market.
Yeah.
On West 25th Street. So not too far from Ohio City.
All right, what's number 2?
Ontario Street Cafe, aforementioned, my favorite dive bar in Cleveland. We were going to an Indians game, a bunch of my friends and I, and we went to I forgot what it was called. Where Panini's is now, it was Tilted Kilt back in the day.
Right.
And the 3 of us with food, like the bill came out to $175. And I was like, what do we drink? I'm still sober. And then we look at this small A-frame sign next door and it said beer and a shot for $4. And I said, wait, why didn't we go get the same alcohol over there? Again, it's right across the street from the casino. They have happy hour prices all day. They used to be cash only, but they raised their prices by 50 cents so they can take cards.
This is right across from Terminal Tower.
Exactly.
I didn't go to a lot of those places because it was under construction for so long.
Right. Their parking sucks.
And it's finally, it finally doesn't have a bunch of scaffolding out front. Yeah.
It's still a hidden gem. But yeah, parking, it'll be a little tough in that area if you're looking for street parking. But they also have the same corned beef that you can get at Slyman's. That's a little known fact as well. So they have good corned beef, good pastrami, and amazing drinks at amazing prices.
Did I read that Panini's is already closed?
I wouldn't be surprised. LeBron left.
Right.
It's the LeBron effect.
I think must be a bad location. It must be too expensive or something.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible when you don't have LeBron. And the Indians fans, I don't know why they're not supporting it as much as like the Cavs fans when LeBron was here. Yeah. But yeah, that location nothing's going to survive there. Sorry.
Fair enough. Number 3?
Number 3, ABC. ABC, the Tavern on West 25th. ABC has happy hour until 9 p.m. every day. Yeah, every day. And they have some of the best burgers you can get at a dive bar as well. So love to support them. Shout out to ABC.
What's number 4?
Number 4. Oh, this is a tough one. Number 4, I have to go with Pier W.
That's a good one.
Pier W, their happy hour is amazing. I know the food is a little pricey, but their happy hour prices are reasonable, and it's an awesome view, awesome date spot, and they also make great cocktails similar to Porco's.
Then what will be lastly number 5?
Number 5, I'm blanking on the name. It's Lago on in Gordon Square. You know what I'm talking about?
I think I do.
Gordon Square, right across from, or right next to the new LGBT center.
Right. I actually been to that center, so I would think I would know what that. What that.
I live in that neighborhood. You think I would know?
Well, we'll eventually find it, but here are the top 5 according to TripAdvisor.
Okay.
So number 1 is the Winking Lizard.
Wait.
Number 1's the Winking Lizard.
Okay.
I see the reactions like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Well, it's a franchise, I suppose. Number 2 is the Prosperity Social Club. A little bit pricier, but...
Yeah. I'll take Porco's over Prosperity any day. I've been there.
But don't worry, because at number 3 is the Beerhead Bar and Eatery.
Okay.
It's not too bad. But number 4 is your favorite, Porco's.
About time. Should be number one. Weekend Lizard over Porco's? Come on, man.
I mean, we kind of know what the demographic is for those who do the TripAdvisor thing. So let's be real here and go, maybe they don't like the tiki idea.
Right.
Number 5 is Saucy Brew Works.
Oh, they paid for that one. They definitely paid for that placement right there.
Well, there we go. We're getting down to conspiracy theories, ladies and gentlemen.
Is that wood-fired pizza?
Yeah, yes. We've been there with a couple of Frisbee friends. We were down there. I thought the pizza was average. I mean,
very.
I was kind of like, if they say it's the best, but it's like it's thin and too thin. I'm like, I feel like I was eating paper.
I don't think I had any of the pizza.
I mean, listen,
you didn't miss nothing.
I just had a beer.
I'm a mud monster. I need huge crust, not tiny crust. If I can't find it, unless if I use a microscope, then we have problems.
I've had better pizza at Corky's.
So you need like a Chicago pizza. I
need a Chicago pizza. Yeah. Deep dish. But with that, the first two sections are done. We'll take a quick break, and then we'll be going right into the incredible history of Mr. Robertson.
Nice.
Let's take a break.
Cool.
Hello, this is Fred, the Mud Monster. Be sure to check out the episode notes for today's show. Go to the photo albums at Facebook.com/The Cleveland Podcast and find the album with the same name as this episode. We'll be sharing photos as well as any additional information that might be relevant to each new show. That way, you'll have something visual to reference as you listen and follow along. If you enjoy the show, be sure to like us and share. See you on the interwebs.
All right, we are back. Caesar, do you still like salad?
I love it.
There we go. And unfortunately, we can't come up with many good mud puns for me yet, but we'll get there eventually, and the torture for Caesar will eventually end.
Do you like mud?
Of course I do.
Yeah.
I'm a mud monster. What do you think? Well, some types of mud I don't appreciate, like the one that when the dogs start mixing into the mud, that's not good.
Okay.
But anyway, we are back with our guest, and we're going to talk about something that he is so famous for, Recess Cleveland.
Awesome.
What do you think? What's a quick summary that you can give to our audience?
All right. So 42% of schools have canceled recess. And
really, 42%?
42% nationally have canceled recess. And I don't know about you guys, but recess was like the best.
Oh my
best
God.
part of my day back in school. So Recess Cleveland throws pop-up kickball, dodgeball, soccer, etc. games all over the city of Cleveland. Most of the events are free to attend, and some of them even include inflatables. So we have a giant 40 by 20 bounce house that adults can get into. That was one of our biggest feedback takeaways last year. So we have adult inflatables. We added music. We've added art and a bunch of other things to make the recess events more attractive. I guess the impact is when we get people out to these events, most of them have not met each other before.
Right.
And we provide an environment where you socialize and you practice all of the soft skills and conflict resolution skills and all the little things that you learn at recess to help kind of fill the gap or fill the void for all these schools that have eliminated recess.
I guess I have a question, and I've actually been to a Recess Cleveland event before. Mm-hmm. Who is your target audience? Is it everybody? Are you trying to reach out to specific people?
It depends on the location and the time.
Okay.
So we have some recess events that start at 10 p.m. So our target is not,
not
kids.
Yeah.
And we play games that are more adult generate or geared towards adults. So we've had we play dodgeball in Mocha at 10 p.m. and have played until midnight, you know?
Yeah.
So the kids that have rocket arms are not there, and some of the adults who haven't played in 20 years will play because the kids with gigantic rocket arms aren't playing. So, yeah, it depends on the time and the location.
What's your strategy for dodgeball?
My strategy for dodgeball is to hang in the back left corner.
That's what I used to do.
Exactly. I get on my knees with no ball.
Yeah.
So if someone throws something at me, I'm ready.
Yeah.
And then when I get a chance to run up and flank, I'll do it.
There we go.
Have you ever done dodgeball at Sky Zone?
I have not.
That's a blast.
I got to get over there. Like, we have a bounce house I mentioned earlier that we play dodgeball in.
Oh, so you're doing the same thing.
It's similar, but I'm guessing at Sky Zone you get a little more air. So
yeah, I mean, I almost broke every bone in my body jumping up and down. So
oh no,
I mean, I'm not very good at dodgeball. Let me tell our audience right here. As a mud monster, yes, you can move around in certain ways when it's on the ground, but when things are jumping up and down, you have to collect yourself going, oh, there's parts of my body. I got to go over here and here.
Right.
I got out so many times, but eventually I got a little bit better. But when I was playing dodgeball as a kid, I was one of the kids with a rocket arm.
Yeah.
So I would just throw that thing with a little bit of a violent spin.
Right.
And everyone go, "You're trying to take my head off?" I'm like, "Yes."
Right. Sorry.
But that's really interesting. So then what's your next Recess Cleveland event?
So that'll be Saturday. We have a partnership with University Hospitals, and in the Midtown area of Cleveland, we're experimenting with ways to connect residents to free resources in the hospital. And Recess Cleveland does the marketing kind of for the hospital. So they get there. We collect their information. They sign in. There are resources there, or resources from the hospital. They're represented. They play. And then we kindly, talk to and generate conversations that are geared towards connecting or finding out if they have insurance. If they don't have insurance, we let them know that even if you don't have insurance, this hospital right here and the recess event takes a place right in front of the hospital. This hospital right here, don't be afraid of it. You can still go in. You can see this person, this person, this person. So Recess for Good.
Oh, and by the way, this is probably coming out next Thursday, so that'll be in the past by the time people hear about it.
But still, we're getting the word out there because then they could check the website and check the calendar.
Right.
Which I was doing.
That happens every 2 weeks. Until Halloween. So every other Saturday from 12 to 3 at 57th and Chester. So
speaking of the dates, it's August 15th today, which is my 4-year anniversary of moving to Cleveland.
Oh, you're about to say Columbus?
I almost did, yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah. I don't think I'm new to Cleveland anymore.
Nah.
No, I think we're grizzled veterans at this point.
Yep.
But I'm curious, what inspired you to start Recess Cleveland, given it's now such a big thing?
Oh, that was easy. Again, we go back to dodgeball, man. Back in high school, we used to have these, it's called Founders Day. And it was just an all school field day. And during that day, the entire school was broken up into 8 teams that went across the entire school. But the 8th graders would come up to the high school and join, the high school teams or whatnot. And we would play like 30 on 30 dodgeball. Ooh, wow. 8-team tournament, 30 on 30, 30 versus 30 every game. And I would get 15 people out by myself. Wow. And then I was also super arrogant about it. So I'd be like, 1 for Alex, 2 for Alex, 3 for Alex. Hey, let's go.
Did they team up on you?
They did. Yeah. And whenever I got out, there was a loud applause. Like you would think like LeBron James just got injured, and you're rooting against him, right? Yeah. So I tried to recreate that. Like I had an itch 10 years later and I'm walking down the street. I'm managing a youth landscaping program and I asked 4 of my employees if they wanted to play some dodgeball, or 5 of my employees if they wanted to play some dodgeball, and 4 of them never played in their life.
Wow.
And I'm like, you're 14 years old. How did that happen?
Right.
We have to do something about this. That's an outrage. We have to fix this now. And we applied for a grant and Recess Cleveland was started.
That's pretty awesome. I mean, you know, when you tell them about that story about 15 kids getting out, being the nerd that I am, I was thinking about Lord of the Rings movies. Have you ever seen like the competition between the dwarf and the elf?
No.
Oh,
It's like it's how many
They're counting the entire series.
how many like enemies they kill in a fight.
Okay.
So like there's like the dwarf's called Gimli, and there's this huge battle at this this kind of huge fort, and he's like, Legolas, I killed 2 already. and then Legolas goes, I've already killed 16. It's like, no, pointy elf is outscoring me.
Right.
Was this in the first one?
Second.
Okay.
But but I was thinking about that. I was like imagining you as like some Legolas Gimli combination, just going
right
2, 3.
Exactly.
Oh, but that is great. But I'm curious, going into a little bit of your background as well. You mentioned on your Facebook page that you spent some time with the Neighborhood Leadership Development Program.
Definitely. Yeah.
And was that something that led a little bit into Recess Cleveland and altogether just being interested in community organizing, or what? Tell us about that.
So Recess Cleveland was born before I entered that program, but Neighborhood Leadership Development Program is kind of like a school for community organizers, and they give you the tools you need to succeed,
right,
in scaling your whatever program or organization that you're working for,
right.
So before going into NODP, we threw 10 events every, like it was, I guess 3 months, 4 months. It was normally like a fall program. Then after I took NLDP, we became year round, and we went from attracting like, I would say 150 to 200 people to like 5,000, 7,000 people. And now we're going to do about 10,000 attendees this summer alone. And we're working with large names like University Hospitals, Cleveland Museum of Art, and we just put in a grant with the Verizon Foundation today via special invite. So they came, they met it with us, they love our program, and they want to see how we can partner in the future. So
that's great.
That's awesome.
Recess Cleveland would not be where it is without NLDP.
There we go. That's fantastic. So then when we talk about like community organizing, I have a particular interest since I myself was a community organizer for a period of time and focusing on issue 1, the drug ballot initiative. I'm curious, when you have this, what's your vision when it comes to the community? Like what's like the set goal? Is it just to make kids in the community more healthy, or is it kind of something of a broader vision?
Oh, it's super broad. I'm sure if you've been in Cleveland for at least 3 years, you can remember when the Cavs won the championship in 2016 and how the city felt.
It was different.
It was super different.
Yeah.
You can walk down the street, you can give hugs, high fives. Anybody wearing, wine and gold. Hugs and high fives. Didn't matter what you look like. Didn't matter where you came from. Didn't matter what suburb you're from. Didn't matter if you lived on the east side of Cleveland or the west side of Cleveland. You can drive through Glenville with a beer out the window. Say, go Cavs. And the cops will even let you go,
Right.
I miss that. Like, we're still champions. Like, it's not like the championship was ever taken away from us. Like, that's part of our history.
It is.
And we showed the capabilities of coming together all as one whole city and not looking at everyone like differently if we don't look alike, if we're not a carbon copy of the person next to us. So we have that capability of doing that and sharing love with everybody in the city. So why did we stop?
Right. Why did we stop? I remember I saw the championship at home in Baltimore. I was in the basement of my parents' house, and I remember there's my mother and I watching Kyrie when he made that 3-point shot. Oh yeah. And you're going, oh man, this is great. I'm thinking this is the ultimate championship. And I remember then I kind of became like a permanent Cavs fan. I'm like, I don't care if LeBron leaves. Like, this is too special.
Yes.
I live in the city, and then they won. I thought, I am the ultimate good luck charm.
Nice.
Because LeBron came the same year that I came to Cleveland because I pursued university for Case Western. And then all of a sudden, they start winning, and I'm like, hey, like, I'm starting to progress in my academic fields. It's like, right. I'm like, correlation, Cavs, me, intertwined.
Right.
But it's very interesting. And I think, for me, that moment of having that unity come together came a little bit differently. I mean, obviously I saw the city come together and that was beautiful. But I remember mine was like more a statewide kind of unity thing when we did our issue 1 ballot initiative, we were trained in Cincinnati. And I remember there are people who were there. There were like people like me who just graduated from college, and some in college. Then you had people who were former like drug addicts, and then people who have been in federal prison for 10, 12 years. And you had people who had active warrants. I mean, you had a whole crazy cast of people, and we're just all together serving this one purpose of trying to, make things right in the criminal justice system. At least this one aspect, which has plagued so many communities for so long. And I remember it didn't matter who we were and who we came from or who we are. We just were there to serve our purpose. I remember my roommate, he was a guy that, he'll be first to tell you that, he had a troubled life. I won't go into too much, but he went through a lot. And, he was one of those guys with like, these issues in the past. And I remember I'm thinking, this guy, we'll get along, but, I don't think there's going to be too much of a deep connection. We have two totally different experiences. I come from a more middle class, completely like suburban type of life in Baltimore, despite the fact that I grew up in the inner city technically, but I was right on the outer edge, right on that edge between the county and the city. And I remember him saying, there was one night we were done after community organizing training. He said, "I'm so glad I met you. So I love you." And I'm like, I'm thinking, I can't believe we made this connection, and I was there to console him when things were going bad at one point during the training. And it's just those moments where you go, yeah, we're all in this together, no matter who we are. And so for me, it's really special to see like someone really carry out that vision. Particularly in your case, because it seems like everyone's really come together. I mean, I was reading the interview about, you had the Browns mascot and the city mayor, 65-year-old grandmothers playing sports. And, and it's kind of interesting. It goes back to like a quote from Nelson Mandela about how sports can unite the world. And I think, you really embody that to me for the city of Cleveland.
Thank you so much. I mean, you just described Recess Cleveland in a nutshell. People who would not have normally met, meeting over sport/recess, making deep connections that are immeasurable. Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So then going into a little bit more of that, I wanted to go actually into some quotes you had from the article I read that you were interviewed by the Cleveland.com. I was really interested in this one particular quote about exposing the potential of vacant lots. I thought that was quite a beautiful quote, and I think it's really telling.
Yeah. So it's funny because I would say about 10 years ago, the exact location that we now have our recess event on 57th and Chester, there was no development there. It was just wide open spaces. I would say about maybe a half acre of just blank space. And I was like, that would be awesome to have recess there, When Recess Cleveland was born, years later, I was like, that would be an awesome location for a recess event.
Is this where houses have been torn down? Kind of thing? Okay.
Yeah. So we do have, we have those events there now, but now there's all these little, I forgot the statistics from the Cuyahoga County Land Bank, but there are all these little potential pocket parks now that all these houses have been demolished and there's nothing on top of them. Those spaces could be used to build community. If there was an abandoned house there for 12 years and they knock it down, you have this empty space. You knock down a row of them, you have this large empty space. Now there are, there could be 6 houses on a block. How do you get more people to become a part of that community? You hold events in that new space that you just created.
Right.
So that's what I hope Recess Cleveland can, help do, kind of mend some of the relationships from broken neighborhoods because of all of the demolishing and I guess lack of new development.
I always wonder when I see all those empty lots, who owns them? I guess the city probably, right?
City, county land bank most of the time, yeah.
And they don't have plans for them?
They don't have enough money to build on those properties as fast as we wanted to.
Right.
I think that really relates to our abandoned building episode when we talk about some of those ginormous abandoned complexes that we mentioned. I think that's the city doesn't have the money.
No.
It's incredible, really. But then again, I mean, it's not shocking news. I mean, we know the city's been running low on money for a while, but there is some additional growth, I suppose. But going on to a little more of a lighthearted note, let's talk about. I want to see if you remember this. Let's talk about the kid who wanted to be an interior designer.
Right, Bricks. So that kid is part of the reason I'm still in Cleveland, actually. I guess I should give you a little background on that story. I was running a marketing agency out of New York City at a very cheap and affordable apartment. I was living in the good life without being in the rat race in New York City. I come home to visit and I tear my Achilles.
Oh.
I didn't want to go back to New York City and experience the city on crutches. That doesn't sound pleasant to me. So I decided to recover on my mom's couch. And while doing so, someone from the local Community Development Corporation, aka the Famicos Foundation in Glenville, came and said, "We're starting a youth landscaping program. We want you to be a part of it." And I'm like, "Dude, I got this boot on and I can't walk. What do you want me to do?" He's like, "Well, you can ride your bike, and you're from this neighborhood. You're pretty successful member of this community. We want you to be a mentor to the kids." So it's like, okay, I'll do it. I'm not doing much else right now. So while working on that program that will later become Cleveland Youth Landscaping, I met a kid named Bricks. Bricks grew up 7 houses away from where I grew up. A little bit about my background. Went to school in Glenville, transferred to university school, went to an Ivy League school, Columbia University, with a degree in computer engineering. But I'm born and raised in Glenville. Bricks grew up 7 streets down, and wanted to become an interior designer, interior decorator. But when I found that out, he said, "Don't tell any of my friends because I don't want them to think of me differently." Everyone in my neighborhood since I left, or a lot of the kids, I should say, think that the only way out, or the only way to become a successful person and support your family, is to become an athlete or musician. Basketball player, football player, rapper. We had one kid that wanted to be an interior designer, but he didn't want anybody to know.
Yeah.
Because all his friends wanted to be rappers, basketball players, and football players. And he didn't want them to treat him differently because he wanted to be something else. And I was like, dude, that's awesome.
Right.
How can I help you?
Definitely.
So we got because of Bricks, like this was before Recess Cleveland, before I got into nonprofits. It was because of that kid right there. And, with me having the background and story I have of, doing whatever I want because I was really, really good in school. I'm still in Cleveland trying to find ways to help kids like Bricks achieve their dreams.
How long were you in New York City for?
11 years.
How do you look at Cleveland differently before you left and then after you came back?
So before I left, we were just talking about this the other day with my family. I used to take frequent visits to Bowling Green, Ohio. I have family out there. So Bowling Green was my escape from Cleveland.
Right.
Because the Cleveland's so energetic and there's so much going on.
Yeah.
And then you go to New York and you're like, whoa, we thought Cleveland was busy. Well, hey, here's New York. And people are always like, hey, how do you describe New York? Well, if you take downtown Cleveland, you multiply it by 10 and then you stack it on top of each other, like that is New York City. And you quadruple like 10x the population. You know?
Right.
So when I was living in New York, Cleveland became my escape from New York City. So just like Bowling Green was, like Cleveland became my escape, where I caught my sanity again, So
your new Bowling Green.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And at the time, there was actually a Greyhound bus that would allow you to go from Cleveland to New York, round trip for $22.
Oh, I remember that. Was it Greyhound?
$22. Greyhound.
Okay.
Yeah. You could also take the Megabus, same price.
Megabus, and that one dropped off in Asia, Chinatown.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That was the one that I knew of.
Right. So, both are incredible cities. I prefer Cleveland now that I'm a little bit older.
Yeah.
But in your 20s, your early 20s, there's no place like New York, man.
Right.
Actually, my mother's from New York City. Mm-hmm. She's from the Staten Island borough. And so I remember my mother actually said Staten Island was my escape from Manhattan.
Right.
You're just going around like, what's all these crazy lights and all these people, and then all of a sudden you're like, what? Who are you? Who are you?
Right.
Are you really Elmo? No, you're not. I was disappointed. I was young. I thought that was the real Elmo, and I was serious. I was thinking, oh my gosh, that has got to be Elmo.
It's Bert Nerdy.
Yeah.
Walking down the street too.
Oh man, but it's just, New York is really something totally different. But then again, we're here talking about Cleveland.
Yeah.
So New York City, we're going to talk about you later.
All right.
We got about 8 minutes left.
8 minutes. Okay. So I wanted to actually go into a little bit on, since you're talking about Recess Cleveland, and I was shocked by that 42% of schools across the country have shut down recess. Do you know why they shut down the recess program?
Test scores. They want to raise scores, so they eliminate the recess and replace it with either more class time or even worse, just nothing.
Yeah.
So you have, and I've been to schools in Cleveland that didn't have recess, and during that time, the entire or half the school at a time is sitting on the bleachers doing nothing.
I hadn't heard of this until you just told me about it.
A lot of people don't know.
Recess was my favorite thing.
Oh my God. I think I learned recess. I think I learned more things about life from recess than certain classes when I had it.
Thank you so much.
That's the only reason I even went to school.
Right. You can't, like when you're in class, you can't talk freely. You can't mingle with the person next to you freely. Recess was that period where you can just do whatever you want.
That's where I made all my friends.
Exactly. Right. So when you're removing it from schools, you're leaving kids with no other choice but to make friends on their phone.
Right. I got my first female admirer at recess.
Right.
I didn't become this handsome man just because I didn't have recess. I had recess, and it allowed us to be creative and unique. Also, without recess, I wouldn't have been the kickball legend that I am at my elementary school.
Hey.
It's because I kicked the kickball through a hoop.
Okay.
One time, and everyone was like, "Oh wow, that's so cool!" We were like all six. It was like, that's the most amazing thing. And now it's just like, meh.
You ever see where Charlie Brown has a crush on the redhead, but he could never talk to her?
Oh, that's right.
When I was in the first grade, I had a crush on this redhead girl, and she sat on the swing next to me, and she said, "Hi," and I froze up.
Oh no!
Oh no!
I looked at her Facebook about 20 years later. I'm okay with it.
Right. Oh, hi.
It's like, hello.
Right.
It's like, hey. And she's just like, that's a little bit, that little innuendo there is a little bit above age, isn't it?
Right.
But I'm curious when you think about, obviously there's been studies showing that there's benefits for kids to do physical activity, and it helps with brain function and numerous times over. And then of course we have the whole 60-minute movement with I remember commercials like Shrek. It was like play outside for an hour a day. Okay. But that motivated me though, because I love Shrek. So, but at the same time, I'm curious.
I wonder if is this NFL Play for 60? You've probably seen that, right?
Oh, definitely.
Does that have something to do with the fact that kids aren't playing anymore?
Sure, yeah.
One of the goals in the Cleveland branch of that organization is actually to get kids to school. So Cleveland has, I wouldn't say a unique problem, but they have an issue with attendance. And they get to school, Play 60, have partnered with CMSD schools, and the schools who have the highest attendance get rewarded with player visits, the mascots visit, they get free food, they get the Browns to come in and throw this recess-like event, and they've been using that because it's easy measurable. Like you can look and say, hey, this school had 80% attendance, and after we rewarded them, they now have 85%. Like that 5% difference is measurable because of us, right?
I want to talk about one of my favorite things I've done since I've been in Cleveland.
What's that?
Recess Cleveland's bubble soccer on ice.
Oh, that's my favorite time of the year. Oh, so every February, when University Circle puts up a ice rink, we take over 2 to 3 Thursday evenings, normally around 6, between 6 and 8, and we bring our gigantic hamsters, they're called body zorbs. So for those of you who don't know what a zorb is, it's a bubble suit. Or if you can imagine a sphere filled with air but core down in the center like an apple, It goes over top of your body. There's straps on the inside, and guess what? Once you put it on, you're a walking bumper car. So
everything's pretty much protected except for maybe your knees.
Yeah,
like thought after I went, I thought maybe I should bring knee pads.
We're going to get knee pads for next time.
Yeah,
you put that in the budget this time. But we play I'll say some of the most fun games of soccer and a bunch of other games that Recess Cleveland has created on ice. And it's just so much fun because ice is the ultimate equalizer. I've gotten knocked down by, a sixth grader, and if you can't see me now, and you guys can't, but I'm 5'11", 220. Right. And this little sixth grade year old kid.
The only problem is when you're in those bubbles, you can't really see who you're hitting.
Right.
You could be hitting a full grown adult or a kid.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And once you realize as a kid, I feel so bad. I just pounded that person.
Probably should have let up a little bit.
Yeah, right.
Took it easy on them a little bit. But as soon as they get up and they're okay, you're like, okay, everything's good.
But it doesn't really hurt that much.
No.
Because you hit, it's air.
Yeah.
So you're just landing on air.
Yes.
So let's talk about where people can find you.
You can find Recess Cleveland on Instagram, Facebook. We're Recess Cleveland, both places. Me personally, where to find me personally? At Tina's on Friday.
Yeah. Anything else?
Well, I mean, I was going to say that whenever I had a chance to play with the kids, I mean, I feel bad too when I knock over a kid, but there's also just a little bit of me that goes, yeah, that's right, you little strip. I'm on top. It's like, Here's a 6'3", almost 300-pound man looking down at this 4-year-old like, you little shrimp. I was like, I realized that I'm like, I need help. Just go, no, maybe I'm doing this all wrong. But the kids loved my little energy when I ever volunteered at my old schools. But thank you, Alex. It was thank you for being a wonderful guest.
Awesome.
And what do you think, Caesar? I think it's time to hang it all up.
Wrap things up.
Wrap things up. That's good.
Later.
Caesar wrap.
A Caesar wrap.
Yeah.
I love it. Delicious.
Later.
Peace. Keep it going, man. It sounds good.
Ego stroking is the best thing we do on the show.
Right. Hey.